Sawasdee krab, good morning and thank you for joining us on Newsline. We're broadcasting live on NBT Radio Thailand, FM 88 and NBT World. Today is Sunday, May 24th, and I'm Surapan Lautaranarit. Welcome to today's segment of Thailand Moves Forward. First up, Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha vowed that the Thai government would support domestic innovations and congratulated Thai students for winning 9 prizes at the world's largest pre-college science competitions in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. General Prayut began his weekly televised address by praising and congratulating Thai youngsters who won awards at the International Science and Engineering Fair in the U.S., with more than 1,700 contestants from 75 countries competing for prizes. Thailand took part in 5 categories of the competition and managed to win 9 awards. One of the awards was for the new method of silk sheath production, developed from observation of the spinning behavior of silkworms. The Premier also took this opportunity to thank the students for putting Thailand on the map, as well as parents, teachers, and other responsible personnel for supporting the talented youngsters. He pointed out that Thailand will always be a follower should it rely on science, technology, and innovation from overseas without supporting what it has. He vowed that the government would have these innovations turned into something useful for the industrial and commercial sectors. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has reiterated that the National Council for Peace and Order, or NCPO, will continue eliminating national conflicts through the use of humanitarian principles. Speaking on the first anniversary of the NCPO during his weekly nationwide broadcast, Returning Happiness to the People, the Prime Minister reminded Thais of the situation during the end of 2013 to the beginning of 2014, when the political crisis prevented the nation from moving forward, hindering the election process. After the NCPO stepped in, General Prayut said the administration had been trying its best to address national issues. He mentioned that such issues as global economic slowdown, illegal, unreported, and unregulated or IUU fishing, and Rohingya illegal migrants were all long-term problems that need cooperation from people in the political, security, and public sectors to ward off. Regarding the national reform, the Prime Minister reiterated that the National Reform Council, the government, and the NCPO will be responsible for laying down the basic reform framework. He urged the media not to only present problems, but also suggest their solutions. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has explained that if the National Reform Council, or NRC, accepts the draft constitution, the planned election will have to be slightly delayed due to the referendum process, while insisting that he is not intent on extending his time in office. Commenting on his past statement to foreign press that Thailand would hold the general election at some point in August this year, General Prayut clarified that the given estimate was in accord with the initial time frame of constitution drafting. Should a public referendum on the draft charter be organized, he admitted that the election would inevitably have to be pushed off. Nonetheless, the Premier urged all sides to wait for the NRC's resolution whether or not to approve the draft constitution. If the draft is turned down, he said it would be unfortunate, as all the efforts put in would have gone to waste, and the charter drafting process would need to start over. Despite the obligation to carry on his duty as Prime Minister under such a circumstance, he vowed that he has never intended to hold on to power. The chairman of the National Reform Council, or NRC, said he believes the NRC will approve the new constitution, provided that the charter drafters adhere to amendment requests. NRC Chairman Tianchai Kiranan said the reform body is making progress in compiling its consensus on various issues. Regarding the decision by the Cabinet and the National Council for Peace and Order to call a public referendum on the new charter, Mr. Tianchai said the NRC agrees that the public must be given ample time to study the document and that extensive channels must be established to educate the public. Furthermore, the NRC has agreed that the referendum must be held to approve the new charter as a whole instead of on specific provisions. International experts on politics have suggested Thailand to use lessons learned from all previous charters to carefully draft the new constitution. During the special lecture hosted by King Prachatipok's Institute, Professor Dominique Rousseau from the University of Paris shared France's political experiences with participants who are members of the Constitution Drafting Committee, the National Reform Council, and the National Legislative Assembly. Deputy Prime Minister Wisanu Krungam said that the government has an intention to organize a series of lectures to promote more active communications about the charter drafting process, which has been criticized in many ways. He added that the event will help those involved learn from experiences of countries where a reform process has been successfully implemented. Professor Rousseau said that the Constitution is the core of any country's attempt to resolve any crisis, and a balanced charter will be a successful instrument to help push all efforts to the finish line. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has presented financial support to the Thai women's national football team and the national taekwondo team, who both claimed victory in recent events, while thanking them for representing the country well. After winning the ASEAN Football Federation, or AFF, Women's Championship 2015 in Vietnam, the women's football team of Thailand paid a courtesy call on Prime Minister Prayut, who offered them sponsorship money worth 1 million baht, acquired from the National Sports Development Fund. On this occasion, the Premier also received the Thai Taekwondo team, who earned gold and bronze medals from the World Taekwondo Championship 2015 in Russia, and presented them with 1.8 million baht of monetary support. The Prime Minister said on behalf of the government and the Thai people, he would like to express appreciation to the athletes as well as the coaching staff for their dedication and sacrifice in the endeavor to make a name for the country. He assured that more importance is being placed on sports development and more sources of funding will be sought. The Ministry of Transport has unveiled its plan to spend multi-billion baht budgets on its 8-year transport overhaul. In the weekly government talk program, Transport Minister Prachin Chantong spoke of the ministry's planned revamp of transport infrastructure, which requires a budget of 1.9 trillion baht. The objectives are to bolster the economy, improve transport connectivity, and facilitate the arrival of the ASEAN Economic Community. Air Chief Marshal Prachin said the Ministry of Transport would focus its revamp on railway and aviation systems. In terms of railway transport, all existing single-track railways will be replaced with double-track ones within this year. In parallel, facilities within trains and stations will also be improved to ensure comfort and safety for passengers. As for aviation, service safety will be the first priority. Airlines will be closely monitored to make sure that they observe safety standards. In regard to airport facilities, a new runway will soon be built at Suvarnabhumi Airport, to add to the 2 existing ones so that the airport will in the future be able to handle as many as 60 million passengers per year instead of 45 million at present. The Thai Chamber of Commerce and the Board of Trade of Thailand has held a 5-region economic conference to brainstorm ideas for economic development. The conference provides a platform for different chambers of commerce to share their updates on their regional economies and to jointly produce suggestions and strategic plans for the government to consider. This year's meeting focuses its attention on agricultural modernization. Participants have planned to put forward short-term economic strategies for 2015 to 2022 in 3 major areas: agriculture, trade and investment, as well as tourism. The Thai Chamber of Commerce will also propose that the government use Section 44 to amend some laws and eliminate red tape, which are obstructive to the implementation of economic policies. The agency, in addition, praised the government and the National Council for Peace and Order for their determination to solve economic problems and social inequality. The Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment is poised to reclaim over 1 million rai of forest areas from influential figures. The D-Day is due on June 1st. After a meeting with the Army, Minister of Natural Resources and Environment, Dapong Ratanasuwan, revealed that the Forest Reclamation Mission would focus its priority on forest areas illegally converted into rubber plantations, which reportedly exceed 1 million rai. The land in question belongs to the Department of National Parks, Wildlife and Plant Conservation, the Royal Forest Department, and the Army. Holders of the land are said to be capitalists and influential figures who acquire the plots without title deeds. The D-Day of the operations is set for June. The first task is to retrieve 600,000 rai of land owned by the 4 regions of the Army. The job is expected to be concluded within December. General Dapong said the land seizure would be carried out regardless of whether the encroachers were present or not. The wrongdoers will then be prosecuted. The government has announced a pay rise for civil servants, retroactively effective from December 1st, 2014. The new wage rise applies to civil servants of both junior and senior levels. Civil servants ranking from C1 to C7 have their salaries lifted by 4%. Wages of those at the management level have been raised by 10%. The Cabinet late last year approved a wage rise for civil servants due to several factors, including the higher cost of living, the wage gap between state and private employees, and the country's financial situation. The new salary structure applies to 1.98 million civil servants across the country. The government will, as a result, spend an additional 22 billion baht on state remuneration. Director General of the Internal Trade Department, Bunyarit Kalyanamit, led a team of officials to inspect 2 private hospitals in Bangkok and found they had strictly complied with the regulations regarding the demonstration of treatment fees and medicine prices. The 2 pilot hospitals picked for the inspection were Vipawadi and Nonthavet. According to Mr. Bunyarit, customers of private hospitals have lawful rights to know treatment fees and other charges before making a decision whether to use the services or buy the medicines. Thus, all private hospitals must show the rates evidently to their customers. Any private hospital failing to do so will be fined 10,000 baht at maximum. And that's the end of today's edition of Thailand Moves Forward. We'll take a quick break now, but before that, let's take a look at the exchange rates and commodity prices.
Thailand is promoting 12 core values for the good of the people. The second core value, being honest, sacrificing, showing restraint and determinations in doing good for the majority.
How could you do that to me? Stop it! Huh? Don't you get it? I don't need you anymore. Enough! We're through. There's someone else in my life.
Say no to the past. Bring your own bag. Say no to plastic.
Nepal has recently been hit by a massive 7.8 magnitude earthquake. The disaster has caused great damage to the country. Thousands of people lost their lives. Thousands of people lost their family. Thousands of people lost their homes. Millions of people are still in dire need of support. You can lend a helping hand by donating to these accounts.
We have received many calls offering help in kind, means trying to send goods, and they are asking how we can help. We are really humbled by the offer of the government and the people of Thailand for our people in Nepal, and we highly appreciate it.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline. This year, the Kingdom of Thailand and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea are celebrating the 40th anniversary of their diplomatic relations. Kun Suchani Rungmuenporn has a report exploring the history and development of their relations.
It has been 4 decades that Thailand has entered into diplomatic relations with North Korea, or officially the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. But how strong is the current relationship between the two countries? The formal ties between Thailand and the DPR Korea have been carried out smoothly through an exchange of diplomats, official visits, and visits of members of the Thai royal family. The last visit of the Thai royal family was made by His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mahawachiralongkorn in 1993. In 1991, the embassy of the DPR Korea was established in Bangkok. It was upgraded from the Trade Representative Office, while Thailand still has no embassy in Pyongyang, but the Thai ambassador in People's Republic of China is concurrently accredited to the DPR Korea.
We have exchange of visits from time to time. We support humanitarian cause in DPRK. Both countries support each other in the international community. And of course, at the bigger picture, we play a big role in getting DPRK invited to be membership of the ASEAN Regional Forum in the year 2000.
In terms of cultural relations, Thai people are familiar with the Pyongyang aerobatic team that often performs in Thailand. Thais also recognize the national soccer team of the DPR Korea as one of the great teams that often competes with the Thai national team. Thailand is one of the North Korea's top trade partners. The Joint Trade Commission of the two countries was founded 28 years ago, but the trade relations are still not in a high-level bilateral trade value between both countries in 2011 only amounted to $62 million compared to $13,760 million worth of the Thai-South Korean trade in the same year. Loxley Public Company Limited is the only Thai investor engaging in import-export business in the DPR Korea. Most of the Thai exports to the DPR Korea are agricultural products, while Thailand imports mainly chemicals and machinery from that country. Though the bilateral relations seem smooth, there's still no clear message about which area the cooperation will specialize in, while both parties still seek their way to develop better relations respecting each other's political circumstance. Suchani Rungmanpon reporting.
Moving on to other stories from around the world. Iraqi Air Force has conducted a number of airstrikes targeting the headquarters and vehicles of Islamic State militants in Iraq's Sunni western heartland of Anbar, the Defense Ministry said. A press release issued by the ministry on Saturday said planes from Iraq's Air Force hit Islamic State fighters' targets in the city of Fallujah. The ministry did not say when the airstrikes were conducted, but it said all the targets were totally damaged and that the militants incurred heavy losses. Video of airstrikes showed a number of military vehicles and buildings believed to belong to the fighters of Islamic State being hit and destroyed. Shiite Muslim militiamen and Iraqi army forces launched a counter-offensive against Islamic State insurgents near Ramadi on Saturday, a militia spokesman said, aiming to reverse potentially devastating gains by the jihadi militants. The fall of Ramadi, the Anbar provincial capital, to Islamic State on May 17th could be a shattering blow to Baghdad's weak central government. Ireland made history when its people backed same-sex marriage by a landslide in a referendum, said Prime Minister Edna Kenny on Saturday. After one of the largest turnouts in the referendum there, 62% of voters said yes, making Ireland the first country to adopt same-sex marriage via popular vote. Yes supporters crowded into the courtyard of Dublin Castle to watch in blistering sunshine as results trickled in from around the country were shown on a large screen. They cheered with joy as the final tally was announced and then burst into a rendition of the national anthem. Government ministers waved a rainbow flag from the stage in front of the crowd, and one lesbian senator proposed to her partner live on national television. The Catholic Church, which teaches that homosexual activity is a sin, saw its dominance of Irish politics collapse after a series of child sex abuse scandals in the early 1990s, and limited its no campaigning to sermons to its remaining flock. The longest motorcade of electric cars in the world was formed on Saturday on what used to be the tarmac of Berlin's former airport, Tempelhof. Even though 508 electric cars would have been enough to challenge the record set in Silicon Valley in the U.S., 577 electric cars and e-motorbikes drove out onto the race course, as the organizer Louis Palmer told Reuters. But even those who did not yet own an electric car could take part in the parade. The organizer promised to organize a vehicle for those who registered early enough. And there was one more motivation. Every participant received a free ticket for the Formula E race happening in the afternoon. And that's the end of today's edition of Newsline. For any comments or suggestions, please feel free to email them to us at newsline.nbt@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook or simply visit our website at thainews.prd.go.th/newsin. And for now, we're going to say goodbye with Sydney's annual Festival of Light, Vivid Sydney, brightening the city on a wet and rainy Friday. I'm Surapat Lautaranarit. Thank you for joining us and have a great day. สวัสดีครับ